Welcome to an incomplete guide to world domination, a podcast by creators for creators, because together we can take over the world. I am your host, Brianna Toiber. He does
Okay,
a
then.
good job. He sounds a little creepy, but at least you know he's never going to be secretly recording you.
Uh-huh. Still, I mean, to be fair, having the, creepy voice is probably slightly dystopian, which is sort of my genre, so I guess it'll be okay.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of reminds me of Terminator. I think every single episode I've edited, I've had to chop out the, yep, that's so creepy.
Yeah. Well, AI is taking over the world.
So, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Sure. So I'm E.G. Stone. I'm a writer. I write books. Wow, I don't I'm usually on the other end of the interview thing. I do a bunch of author interviews and book
That's
reviews and
cool.
whatnot. So, yeah, it feels weird being on this end. Let's see here. I'll try to be
Been
a little
there.
more
It is
precise.
really weird.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. I do linguistics. I have a master's in linguistics that I recently got, which is kind of exciting.
Congrats.
My sort of first book came out in October. It's called Speaker of Words. It's a dystopian cyberpunk fiction piece. And I've got a fantasy trilogy that will be first book coming out in February, book one of that. Otherwise, I don't know what else to tell you.
You had me at dystopian cyberpunk.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun to do.
I am kind of curious though, like, what made you decide to pursue degree in linguistics?
Ah, yeah, that I blame on Tolkien. Instead of being
Fair.
read, the normal children's books that people read when you're young, I was read Tolkien, and it kind of evolved from there, or devolved, I suppose, depending on which way you want to look at it. So,
I see that as evolving.
yeah, so linguistics has been sort of my thing. I writing and language and words. I'm a word nerd, I guess.
I'm not to the extent that you are, but I'm also a word nerd. Usually, when I name characters, I try and give them a name that means something. Which
Yes.
was fun with one character, because like, a big part of her thing is she has, like, a literal, like, heart of gold. It's a phoenix heart. It's
Oops.
long story. So, I'm like, I gave all the 3 main characters a last name that means something, and it's all
Yes.
related to heart. So, she was golden-hearted, Corlari, of course.
Mhm.
We had broken-hearted and cold-hearted,
Uh-huh.
but I also gave
I
her the first name Aurelia, which is 'cause it was a pretty name, and then I
Mhm.
think it was, like, something about Goddess of the Dawn was one of the name meanings, but then
Cool.
later I found out another name meaning is golden hearted. Like, I just named her golden hearted heart of gold. Good job, me.
Well, I mean, the Department of Redundancy department is, loud and clear.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that one's fun. No, naming is an art form.
Really is.
So much fun. Oh man, I and the hard part is having characters who you name and you need to use that name over and over and over again in different stories. It's very confusing sometimes.
Yeah. There was one time where I was working on 2 different stories at the same time, and I realized both of them, the main villain had the exact same name. I'm like, "Well, crap."
Interdimensional travel, obviously.
And I'm like, it was 2 very different stories. I'm like, "Well."
Oops.
Sorry,
Um,
I just had the thought of like, "Hey, but you could connect them this way." I'm like, "Ooh, wait, nope, I'll think about that later."
interdimensional travel, I'm telling you.
I was thinking one could, surprise, be a prequel.
Oh, prequels. Yay! Those are fun.
Yeah, this was a story from years ago, and I just now had that click, and now I'm really frustrated.
Well, I mean, there's time to go back and fix it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what rewrites are for.
Is writing the main thing that you do for a living, or mentioned
Yeah.
something about doing author interviews?
The author interviews and book reviews are simply they're a means to get me more connected to the writing community and also to help other people spread the news about their works and their journeys and that sort of a thing. So it's connected to the world of writing, but
Yeah.
tangentially.
You make your living in the world, but not all of it is just from typing up words on paper.
Well, most of it, most of it. Although I'm still fairly new at the whole writing full time thing, so that's a process.
I'm not even close to being there. I haven't finished a book in a while, but I do sometimes do book reviews.
Oh yeah, yeah. Book reviews are fun.
I mean, they haven't been getting as much pull, but that's because I do book review and I also produce 2 weekly podcasts by myself.
Ah, so free time doesn't exist.
And I work in retail.
Yeah, well, who needs sleep?
Yeah, I'm just like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. But I'm guessing, given that your parents raised you on Tolkien, they're very supportive of your chosen career path.
Ah, sort of. I mean, it took a bit of convincing, but in the end we got there.
Yeah, I feel that because it's tough being a writer for a living, and most people don't see how that's possible.
Exactly. However, in this day and age of self-publishing and self-marketing and the internet being a means of money making, it seems to be more viable than ever. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's still difficult.
Yes. I think pretty much anything at this point is difficult.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. So, did you self-publish or traditional publish for your first novel?
I'm self published. I like the idea of traditional publishing. It's just, I also like having control over my work and also the fact that I make 75% of my royalties instead of 10% of my royalties is a nice thing.
Yeah, that is very nice.
So, the marketing takes a whole heck of a lot more work. But the end result, once I get to the end result being really quite good, then yes.
What are some of the challenges you've run into?
Marketing. I think that's pretty much, yeah, going to be forevermore the most difficult thing ever.
Marketing's always a fun challenge because stuff changes all the time, and
Exactly.
they keep changing their algorithms to make it more difficult.
Changing, and so you have to keep up with that, and then there's the whole social media marketing, and do people like Facebook, or do they like Twitter, do they like Snapchat, or Tumblr, or whatever, and where should you be, and what should you be taking?
TikTok has been taking off a lot recently. I've been eyeing it curiously. I'm still not sure, but
Well, yeah, the problem with that is I think it's only, like, short videos and
yeah,
things, so that could be slightly more problematic if you want to do things over, like, a couple of minutes.
yeah, that's true. And I think it's better just for more of like building your personal audience instead of directly marketing stuff.
Right.
That's more for, I was going to say selling yourself, but that sounds like we're talking about something very different.
Oh, well,
I'm good with words.
I sell books and things. Yeah, Uh,
Ah,
yeah, I mean, you're building your brand, I think is the phrase that you want.
yes. My brain is not doing the English spell today. I apologize. I'll probably have other awkwardly phrased things pop
Mhm.
up.
What is words?
Yeah, pretty much. I also blame part of it on the fact that my allergies have been sneakily trying to assassinate me in my sleep for the
Oh my
past couple
goodness,
weeks.
yes. The allergies are driving me crazy because it's not actually winter, it's just sort of pretending to be winter, and so things are still throwing pollen my way.
Yeah, it's also, damp outside, which means
Yes.
mold, and my allergies are like, "Okay, it's time to, like, break out the big guns and do the stabby stab." I'm like,
Mhm.
"Can you please not? I like being able
Mhm.
to breathe."
Yeah, breathing is good, sleeping is good. Both of those things I'm super fond of and would like to have for a while yet.
Yeah, and so you mentioned that you just recently got into writing full time.
After I finished my dissertation, I came back from Scotland and started doing the writing thing full time. So I've been doing it since last May. However, my book didn't come out until October. So I mean, sort of October, I guess, is the official start of my career as an author.
What all did you do before that? Was it just sort of, like, working on different stuff while you went through school or what?
Well, I've been writing books for ages, so I've got, a whole bunch written. Let's see, 20 some odd full length pieces in various different genres. So most of
That's
what I
impressive.
did, oh, thank you. I can't seem to stop, so that's always a thing.
Feel that.
So most of what I did between May and October was setting up marketing channels and figuring out what I needed to do for that. And I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah, I don't think you ever really finish figuring it out. It's just continue sort of tweaking and adjusting and making it up
Mhm.
as you go and just kind of hope it works.
That's my life. Yep, making it up as I go. Uh-huh, that's accurate.
Yeah, I definitely feel that because I'm slowly inching my way towards doing like full time podcasting. And by slowly, I mean I might get there in the next 10 years.
Well, I mean, podcasts are extremely popular, and if you can get there with, like, I don't know, sponsorships and things, adverts
Yeah.
and whatnot, I suppose. I don't know how that works. I'm only peripherally, that's a word, on the edge of that, so,
Do you produce your own podcast or?
um, I put the author interviews onto podcast form as well as YouTube form, and then I also have been doing a, radio drama style audiobook type thing with a story I wrote a couple
Audio
years ago.
drama, I think is the word I'm looking
Audio
for.
drama, that's a good one. Yeah, okay, I like that.
I have some people. Yeah, I actually have a couple people on here that you would probably get along well with, because
Yeah.
I'm connected in some audio drama communities, and I'm playing with some ideas of my own, but still like very early. Like I'm
Yeah.
still trying to finish the damn trailer.
Ah, that's always fun. Trailers. Now, this is me just narrating with all the various, characters and accents and Foley art and music and
Yeah,
stuff.
which is
It's fun.
definitely a valid way to go. I've listened to some like that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I probably won't end up doing that more than just once every couple of weeks type of thing, but I'm enjoying it.
Hey, that's the important part. As long as you have fun and you reach a larger audience, and when people get frustrated not knowing what happens next,
Yeah,
they'll just buy your book.
exactly. See? Problem solved, although this book isn't going to be published. This is just old story that I needed to do something with.
Well, then if when people get frustrated, you could if you decide you want to publish it, you'll have a lot of people buying it just because they have to know how it ends.
Yeah.
I did that
Ooh,
with
that'll be
one.
fun.
I did that with
Uh-huh.
one. I'm like, I realized we had the book in the store. It was one I've been listening to called The Secret World Chronicles.
Uh-huh.
So it's entirely narrated by one person who is a very talented voice actress. But I've been
Uh-huh.
listening to it for years, and they're in like the last book, and so much stuff is happening. And I'm just like, I got so frustrated waiting to see what happened next. I bought it, and I
Oh, no.
flipped forward to about the part I left off at in the podcast, and
Uh-huh.
I've just been reading it because I'm like, I have to know. I mean, I'm still gonna go up I
Oh.
will still absolutely go back and listen to it, but
Well,
I have
yeah.
to know. I
I
have to know
I
what happens.
understand that feeling. The need to know what happens next. That's why I read so many books.
I've got a shelf.
Just one?
It's the ones I haven't read yet.
Oh, the TBR shelf, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right next to my bed, so I can grab the next one whenever I finish one.
I have no spare shelves, so my TBR stack is just kind of, like, on top of a dresser.
That works too.
There's a distinct lack of, bookshelf space. All of my bookshelves are full.
Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty common writer problem that happens regularly.
You know, I think you might be right.
We just have to consume more stories so we get ideas for stuff.
Precisely. It's research.
Exactly. It's research. It's you're researching the competition, you're researching different storytelling styles,
Mhm. It's yeah,
and
researching the genre and also Saturday afternoon and it's raining outside and, the cat won't move research.
I don't quite have that because I don't have a cat and I work in retail, so I'm usually at work on Saturday nights.
Ah.
But I work in a bookstore, so I get a discount to help fuel my addiction.
Part of me says I would love to work at a bookstore, and part of me says there would be no paycheck coming home, ever.
Yeah, and then you also have to deal with people constantly being grumpy because you don't have the exact edition of the book that they need to have tomorrow. It's usually required school reading stuff.
Oh.
So it's like, "We have to have this specific edition." I'm like, "There's nothing I can do about the fact that we do not have the book at the store. I'm sorry."
I've had that a few times, mostly with Russian literature, not going to the store, but I happened to, like, already have a different edition and wasn't going to spend more money, and so we read the book and I said, "Wait a second, your book is not the right book. It doesn't say the right things, and it's translated wrong." That was fun.
Yeah, yeah, I imagine.
And Shakespeare. Shakespeare's always fun.
Yeah. I did, like, Hamlet in, like, 3 different classes, so I'm just like
Wow.
yeah, just, like, throughout
Okay then.
college.
I mean, wow, there are other plays out there besides Hamlet.
Yeah, not sure my teachers were aware of that. I
Ah,
had a Brit Lit professor who didn't know who I was talking about because like we were talking about like different heroes and like classifying them, and so I said Aragorn. And he wrote down Aragon. I'm like, no, Aragorn, like from
oh, no,
Lord
no,
of
no.
the Rings, and he's
Oh,
like,
no,
oh, I
no.
haven't read that
What? He's British literature. That's like
exactly, and
quintessential British literature.
I'm like, what? How? Like, I understand some of my classmates maybe, but you teach British literature at a college level.
Oh, that's just tragic.
I'm just that was almost as annoying as that I knew a film major who hadn't seen the movies. I'm like, "You should be ashamed of yourself. You call yourself
Well
a film major?"
well, that one I sort of understand because a lot of people in the film world don't necessarily watch the mainstream movies. They tend to watch more of the indie stuff.
I don't even think he watched that.
Oh. Um,
Yeah, he was like,
yeah, I got
"Let's
nothing.
move on. Let's move on. I don't need to be bashing strangers anymore."
Aha.
What are some of the stories that you enjoyed reading that you feel like kind of influenced your writing a bit?
Oh dear. Well, let's see here. How many bookshelves have I got? Yeah, so I grew up I was forbidden after a while from taking books to parties. My mom wouldn't let me read books at her parties cuz she would go out and I would be dragged along. And so I would have to read anything I could get my hands on in the time that I had. And I ended up reading a lot of 19th century British literature, which, given that I was like 10, didn't make a whole lot of sense.
I can imagine.
Well, I mean, I probably understood it better than I should have done, and then I moved into things that people my age were reading, and I got extremely confused because it didn't make any sense compared to what I had just been reading. So then I moved on into things that adults were reading in various genres. So I ended up with a lot of mystery, I ended up with a lot of science fiction. It was yeah, it's quite the journey. So if you ask what books have I read that have influenced me, it's gonna be all over the map.
I feel like that's pretty accurate. I remember I was the kid that would, take books out to recess at
Uh-huh.
school,
Yep, I
and
did
there
that.
was one time where, like, friends like, "Are you reading a kid's book?" I'm like, "No, this is a murder mystery I borrowed from my mom."
Yep. Uh-huh. If I could reach it, then I could read it. That was my theory.
Yeah, hopefully that didn't lead to any awkward discoveries,
No. No, not particularly. Those came, later.
and it was a little less weird for you to be reading them.
Yeah, because by that time, I actually understood what was going on with that sort of a thing.
That's always helpful. It's not just like, "What in the world is oh my gosh, what is this?"
Yeah, no. I mean, to be fair, considering I started off with 19th century literature, which had a, certain preoccupation with saying things in a polite and, very obscure manner. Yeah, it was probably good.
Probably.
Yeah, always fun. These days, I read pretty much whatever I get my hands on, which is probably why I do book reviews.
Same. I've like my pile, I've got a little bit of everything. I just finished one that's
Uh-huh.
it's a relatively new YA fiction one. And like usually
Okay.
I go for more of the fantasy stuff, but this one was called American Royals by Catherine McGee.
Oh, I've heard of it. I haven't read it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, so it's a look at what if Washington had said yes to the crown. And I was like, I think because like working in the bookstore, we get advanced reader copies. So like I just grabbed it because it
Ooh.
looked interesting. Oh, it was good. I
Yeah?
it was once I got over the weirdness of reading American Monarchy in the same in a sentence, um, I fell in love with it. The characters are great, and I couldn't help but sit there and think, I'm like, yeah, no, if America had a monarchy, this is what it would look like.
So is this like we lost the Revolutionary War type of thing, or is it just
No, it's there was a point in history, like in the war, when Washington was offered a crown of his own.
right,
And in
yeah.
this version, it's like a modern day look at what if he had said yes.
Oh, I see.
And it
Oh,
was good.
interesting.
I if you haven't read that one yet, I definitely recommend it.
Okay, I'll go have a look.
I could geek out about books all day.
Well, I mean, they are wonderful.
Yeah, and it's like whenever I get more time to do like more podcasting stuff, I do kind of I've been playing around with the idea of doing a book review podcast. But instead
Oh,
of, like,
yeah.
doing an overall review, like, like, me and whoever I get for a co-host would, like, read through the book, but we'd only read, like, X amount of chapters at a time, and then we'd talk through it all that happened.
Oh, no. That would be so much fun because, oh, yes, we're only a third of the way through. We have no idea what's going on, but here's what we think so far. Oh, dear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because well, I kinda got introduced to this format of there was this guy, he did this he created a podcast called Potterless, and
Mhm.
it's the journey of a 24-year-old man reading through the Harry Potter series for the first time.
Oh my goodness.
So he would do that, and he would bring on a guest who was an avid Harry Potter fan.
Oh.
So,
Oh,
there's a lot of
yes.
people just not trying so hard to not spoil anything for him.
Ha! Oh my goodness, that'd be so
I
funny.
just yeah, I really like that format because it's, like, digging into things. It's, like, sort of digging into what's going on and
Yeah.
having one person that has no idea and the other person that's just sitting here like, "I can't say anything. I can't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Just don't react."
I feel like that would be so much fun,
Oh, it really would be. Like, there's just too much fun stuff you can do with podcasting. It's ridiculous.
right? Yeah, it's, one of those mediums that I should perhaps explore more than just my, you know, rate or audio drama, though that's what you called it, audio
Uh,
drama.
well, hey, I've got plenty of people I can introduce you to that can help you learn your way around.
Oh, yeah. With all of my free time when I'm not trying to write books or read books or, listen to books.
Oh, that's why you just have it all centered around books, so it all like your entire life is all interconnected.
Well, and the occasional chocolate.
Yes, all the chocolate.
Yes.
Talking to someone who, if you put a package of Oreos in front of me, they will not be there for very long.
Oreos? Huh.
Yeah.
I see. Yes. Huh?
Sometimes I like to dip Oreos in coffee. It's delicious.
Well, I mean, they do make drinks with chocolate and coffee already, like, mixed together.
Oh, I love those too.
Yeah, no, I'm a straight up coffee or chocolate person, so, hot chocolate, just straight up chocolate pieces. Dark chocolate with nuts and things, yes, mhm, mhm. February is a great time for people like me because all the chocolate is on sale.
Yeah, well, February 15th is when it all goes on sale.
Oh, yes, that's true. I suppose there is the first half of the month when they're actually trying to sell them.
Yeah, and then they just want to get it off the shelf so that they can switch to Easter? Yeah, Easter.
I thought St.
Which
Patrick's Day was next.
not as much candy that goes to St. Patrick's Day. Although there probably will be some.
Well, they've got the little gold chocolate coin things, or is that
Yeah, so
something
they'll
else?
probably do both.
Okay. Well, I mean, anytime they've got chocolate on the shelves, I'm okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Because anytime there's chocolate on the shelves, it's a good time.
Mhm. Mhm. Books and chocolate, and, yeah, there goes my paycheck.
Feel that. So tell me a little bit about the your first book.
Speaker of words,
Yeah.
the dystopian cyberpunk.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm like, I dystopian type cyberpunk. I'm like, yes, I am sold.
It was huge amounts of fun to write. The basic premise is that, in line with your average dystopian novel, there is a society ruled by the Republic. And in this Republic, you have a place called Kuiper Central, which is sort of where your lawkeepers hang out. They keep people from breaking the law, they keep dissidents from gathering together, and they find crimes against the Republic. Now, one of these crimes happens to be a bunch of dissident rebels leaving behind a mysterious message. And so Inspector Maddox Dawes has to go figure out what these people are trying to say. Only all of his resources are being disabled by these dissidents, so he has to go and figure it out manually. And it's a whole
Oh,
explanation an examination of like linguistics and how language influences thought and how you think about different things and how you speak about different things, and it's rebels and computers and language and huge amounts of fun. So
that sounds like so much fun.
yeah, I had great. I enjoyed writing it. It was I was probably grinning maniacally half the time.
That's just a sign that you're doing something right when you're just sitting like, oh yeah.
Yes, yes, and I've had readers come back and say, "What? No!" And the ending, and oh, and I enjoy those reactions quite a lot.
I just I feel like sometimes I'm like, I shouldn't enjoy making people suffer this much. But it's so much
Well,
fun.
I mean, it is the prerogative of a writer to enjoy the tears of the readers.
I feel like all writers at some point probably get buy one of those coffee mugs that just says reader's tears.
Yes. Oh, I need one of those. I haven't gotten one of those yet.
Oh, there's probably one you could probably find one somewhere.
That'll be my next purchase.
How long had you been working on that one before you published it? Or finished it?
Speaker of words, I actually wrote a summer. Hold on, let me do the math here. A year before I published it, and so I had set it aside and was doing undergraduate dissertation. So I did that bunch of linguistic stuff, and then I was in Edinburgh and getting my master's. And I decided, okay, time to go get this book ready for publication. So I sent it. Well, I edited it. I have the hardest time with that word in the past tense. Edited. Yeah.
It is a weird word. I feel you there.
I hacked it, sent it off to an editor, we got it going, and it took from basically last January to October, to set up the marketing and do all the pre-sale cover design stuff, and, it was fun.
And I gotta like hear about some of that stuff. I'm just like, do I want to deal with all of that? Because I imagine there's a lot that goes into it.
Well, I probably took longer than I needed to simply because I was setting up my author profiles on the social media and doing all of that stuff before I got it published.
Pretty smart, because like having a bit of a platform set up before you start having to promote.
Right. And considering I hadn't ever done any of that before, I figured, okay, I need to spend at least a few months doing this. So now that I've gotten that, my next books should be much easier to produce and promote and whatnot.
Hopefully. And you said the next one's going to be part of a fantasy series.
Yeah, book one of a fantasy series called The Wing Cycle. Book one is called The One Who Could Not Fly.
Ooh,
And it follows a sylph who is, in my world, a winged human, basically what people would consider an angel in this world, but not in the other world. She is unable to fly, and she is in a society where flying matters a whole heck of a lot. Unfortunately for her, she gets captured by humans and discovers that, you know what, the world sucks a whole lot more than she originally thought.
oh, poor thing.
Yeah, I'm not very nice to my characters. So she has to figure out kind of what her role is in this new world, and things don't always end well for all of the people. There are wars, and she's got alliances with different people, and then she has to find her way back to her original home, but they don't necessarily want her back. And so I had fun.
I once had a friend when I was telling about one of my stories comments like it's like you really like making your characters suffer. I'm like, well, think of it this way. Characters are like geodes. In order to see what they're made of, you have to break them.
Yes, indeed.
Definitely stole that from somewhere, but I don't remember where.
That's what Google is for?
Yeah. I think I actually found it on Pinterest and I'm like, I'm gonna use this. It's not I'm like, it's not originally mine, but I'm using this.
Well, it's accurate.
It really is.
No, so it's a book of sort of self-discovery and figuring out how to live with yourself in a world that doesn't necessarily want you.
I feel like that's a story a lot of people need to hear just because there's a lot of different things that cause someone to feel like they don't belong or like they're not
Yeah.
wanted. And life
Yeah.
is, it's messy.
Mm, yes. Yes, indeed. So I had fun. I think it'll be great when it comes out. It comes out at the end of February, and then book 2 will be in June, and book 3 I haven't yet settled on a release date. I'm working on it.
As I say, that's really close.
Well, that's sort of the strategy of many self-published types is to do rapid release type of thing, and I've already written book 2. I still have to write book 3, but I'm waiting on edits to go and make sure that everything's consistent and that I'm not accidentally putting someone where they shouldn't be.
Or, bringing someone back from the dead. And then you're like, oh, whoops.
W Well, I mean, yeah. Only one semi sort of, back from the dead situation so far.
That's good. Was that on purpose or an oh, whoops?
Yeah, it was on purpose.
Okay, that's good.
Well, not for the characters involved.
Oh, so you brought back a not nice person.
Yes.
Yeah, that can be a lot of fun, but you can only do that get away with doing that so many times before your reader's just like, "Why are they not dead?"
Well, it's relevant to the story.
Yeah.
I'll just go with that.
Well, I said that because I once read a series where, brought the same bad guy back, like, 4 different times. I'm like, "If he comes back one more time."
Oh, oh gosh. Yeah, no, this is just like it definitely just once, and it's definitely relevant to the story.
Okay, that's good. I don't know if I've ever brought anyone back in a story, but, oh, there will be someone.
Well, one of the stories I'm writing, the series probably won't come out until 2021, but the main character is Death's marketing/PR agent, and Death.
What?
Yeah, yeah, it's fun. So
I'm
Death
sold.
hires this guy uh, to be his marketing/PR agent because I'm sorry, Death needs a little help in that area. Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
about image. So Death accidentally makes this guy impossible to kill, and there are many, many problems that come with this. And eventually, Death fixes the problem, but not before huge amounts of chaos and mayhem.
I love it.
Yeah, that's fun. I'm writing book 2 at the moment of that one. So I've got a few different projects going on at the
Yeah.
same time, which I probably shouldn't be doing because,
Welcome to being
coherence.
a writer. We all do this.
I mean, there's only 8 or so books that I want to write right now, all at the same time.
I'm currently bouncing between like 2 different books
Uh-huh.
and a D&D campaign, an idea for an audio drama, and one that I'm not sure if it's gonna be its own D&D campaign or if it's gonna be an audio drama, but it has to do with the narrator for my other podcast, Tales of Adventure, because
Aha.
I interview people's D&D or role-playing game characters, and I do it in character. So
Mhm.
at some point, I'm gonna have to reveal the full story of the narrator, which I'm still working on that, and I'm still
Oops.
working out those details.
Well, I mean, details are fun.
I just got a random text from one of my managers asking if I can close tonight. I'm like, I got stuff.
You have life and things and also food.
And also, it's like you give me a day off, I immediately cram everything I can into that day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, with retail, you probably don't get a proper weekend.
Nope.
Take your day.
Everyone's like, "Yay, weekend!" I'm like, "Oh no, it's the weekend."
Oh. Oh. That's tragic. I'm sorry. Weekends
Yeah.
should be enjoyed.
Well, I have Sundays off, so I starting to notice you tend to like to write things in series.
Um, well, Speaker of Words is technically a standalone. So, yes, for the others. The others are definitely a series. Fantasy Trilogy, The Wing Cycle, and then the one following that will be a series of a number of books I don't know. And I've got several other ideas, both for standalone pieces that could be turned into series and books that should be series. And yeah, I think I'll be busy for a few years.
That's good, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, considering this is meant to be my career, then yes, yes, I should be busy.
Yeah. I now you're making me want to go back to writing, but I'm like, I've got so much editing I have to do today.
Editing is useful also.
Well, it's audio editing. I also have like actual editing. I do a little freelance work at the local small publishing company.
Ah.
So I'm like, I do
Well, I
have
mean, that's fun.
someone's novel I need to edit, and I've also got audio editing out the wazoo.
Aha. Yeah. Well, I have found that audio editing takes a lot longer than text editing.
Yeah, because you have to cut out all the ums and the ahs and the stutters and the
Well, I mean, it's like, yeah, um.
I'm going to laugh and cry when I edit that. Actually, no, I'm just going to leave that as is.
Well, that's probably a good idea considering it was intentional.
Yeah, it takes a while, but I don't know. It can kind of be a little fun after a while.
I just like causing trouble.
Well, I'm the same. I once I learn that I can be snarky and sarcastic around someone, it's over.
Yeah, although to be fair, if someone has to be incredibly formal, I can be incredibly formal back. It just is overlaying my natural language of snark.
There's nothing better than just I had one coworker who anytime he said the phrase "Diary of a Wimpy Kid" or "Dork Diaries," because we usually work downstairs where the kids' books were,
Uh-huh, yeah.
and so anytime he said this phrase, my immediate reaction is, "Oh, you're publishing your diaries?"
Ah,
Every
yes.
single time. And even though he
Oh, poor
doesn't work
guy.
there anymore, I still give him a hard time about just about everything.
Good for you.
I mean, hey,
Yes.
it worked out. We've been dating going on 6 months now.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Seems to work then.
Yeah. He's also a huge nerd even though he is also like, he I call him a well-rounded nerd because he's a nerd when it comes to football, but he's also read The Silmarillion.
American or European football?
American.
Okay, because I don't understand American football in the slightest. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I do understand European football a smidge.
The only reason I understand anything about American football is I did call it as I was in marching band through most of high school and all of college.
Yeah, okay. That'll do it for you.
You kind of pick stuff up and I get the gist of it. But not gonna lie, I we usually didn't pay much attention to the game. I'd be goofing off. I'd look up. I'm like, oh hey, we're still winning. Cool. Back to goofing off.
Uh-huh. Yes, that sounds accurate. No, sports and I have a confused relationship, I think is probably the accurate way of describing it. I don't understand sports, sports doesn't understand me. We just, go our separate ways.
I kind of have like a basic understanding of the gist of it. I enjoy watching it with people just because like sometimes when they get excited it's contagious.
Mhm.
But if I'm just kind of sitting there flipping through the thing, I see sport ball something going on, I'll just skip past that and see if I can find something else to watch. Or sometimes I'll put on like old marathons of like Castle or Bones in the background.
Yeah, that'll do it. That's far more entertaining.
Yeah, not gonna lie, there's I have 3 TV shows that I'm definitely at one point going to, like, own all of just so I can, like, watch to have on in the background for whenever I need
Mhm.
that sort of background noise, and it's Castle,
Mhm.
Bones, and
Mhm.
Elementary.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. Or maybe
It's
I've seen, like, half of an episode once way back when it
it's
first came
really
out.
good, it definitely grows on you,
Yeah?
but it's basically Sherlock Holmes in New York and Watson's a woman.
Okay then.
Yeah, but I like it, it grows on you.
Okay. Well, I'll have to go, reinvestigate that because now I'm curious.
Yeah. And I promise he does grow to be a more tolerable person eventually.
Well, I mean, if you read the books, Sherlock Holmes is never a terribly tolerable person.
Yeah, yeah, I've only ever read The Return of Sherlock Holmes. I still haven't finished the original, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which I get the irony in that.
I have those on audiobook, narrated by Stephen Fry, which I have to admit is one of
Ooh,
the most entertaining things ever.
dang it, now I want that audiobook.
It's 60 hours long.
All together? Just
Yeah,
like
it's the complete Sherlock Holmes, so it does have
okay.
everything.
Okay, gotcha. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for the rest of the day, my inner narrator is always Stephen Fry.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
It's very
I'm
fun, but
rather
very dangerous.
curious talking about listening to things. Do you like to listen to music while you write, or do you have to have it silent?
That depends on whether I'm actually typing or dictating. If I'm dictating, then my computer gets really confused if I'm trying to dictate and listen to music. But if I'm
Yeah,
writing, then I'll happily have some music on in the background, usually classical, because I'm familiar enough with it that it kind of becomes background noise,
yeah,
but sometimes other stuff.
I've learned that I can't listen to anything that has lyrics in it, or at least not English lyrics. So what I usually do is I find like epic movie music or epic video game music. I've actually got several
Right.
bands I listen to. I usually stick with really slow motion because their stuff is amazing. But yeah, I'll just put that on in the background while I'm writing because if I do something with lyrics to it,
Yeah, no, that
yeah,
ends up a whole different situation, and yeah.
you realize that half of your page is song lyrics that are not yours.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, one of the problems with classical music is I was listening to, an online, internet radio thing that had classical, and I was writing. It was a nice, relaxing thing, and then all of a sudden, The Ride of the Valkyries came on, and I'm like, "Wagner, no! No, I can't do anything now. I must write the dramatic fight scenes." Ugh, yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh,
there
I
are some
love it.
pieces that are just terrible no matter what.
What are some of your favorite, like, dumb or annoying questions people ask whenever you tell them that you're a writer? Or whenever
Oh
they hear about what you
gosh.
do?
Oh gosh. Um, "Oh, can I have your book for free?" That one's all fun. "Oh, I'd write a book if I had time." That one's always fun. And "Oh, so how do you make money?" That one's fun too.
So all the ones where it's just like your kind of immediate reaction is like, "Great, I'm gonna punch you in the throat now."
Yeah, instead, I like to pull out my longest, most florid words and describe in great detail all of these struggles of your average writer. It's highly entertaining.
Do you also have people asking like, "Hey, you should put me in your book?"
Oh, I've had a few of those. I'm like, "Sure, you can be my next murder victim."
That's usually my reaction too. It's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll put you in there. I'll put you in this one where all this stuff is going on." I'm like, "Great, no, I wanna have a happy ending." I'm like,
Tough
"Then write
beans.
your own story."
Exactly. If you want to live through my book, you'd better write your own.
It's so fun watching people not understand what being a writer is like.
Yeah, it's, oh, so entertaining. Hmm. Especially if you can explain it to them in such a way that they have to actually, like, think about things.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I just, say, "I write books," and move on.
And short, sweet, to the point. If they have any more questions, they can either reconsider those questions or walk away.
Well, the next question is always, "Oh, what sort of books do you write?" And then I describe them, and they're like, "Oh, okay." Because I have to say 90% of the people I've talked to that happen to live around me have no idea what to do with dystopian novels.
Well, that's such a shame. Dystopians can be a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, you're tearing the world to pieces.
You also get to rebuild it after that.
Mhm,
If
that
you want
too.
to. If you want to.
Well, I mean, that depends very much on the book and, the sort of day I'm having.
You ever find that you come up with like some of the randomest ideas and you're just kind of sitting there like, brain, I don't know where you found this
Yes. Usually when I'm brushing my teeth and cannot write it down.
in the car on my way to work.
Oh, yep, that's a good one too because, oh, yeah, you could write it on your phone if you wanted to actually kill yourself in the process. But no, no, instead you just have to think it over and it turns into a whole collection of you have no idea where this came from. Mhm.
Yeah, like the time when I was bored on a Saturday and realized it'd be really, really easy to turn The Wizard of Oz into a crime series.
Oh. Oh my.
That's another one that I'm working on, and I'm just like, with how it's gonna work out, I'm like, this is gonna be 5 books. I'm like, awesome, because
Yeah.
like, cause I can't have things be simple. Cause like
Well,
there's no
no.
magic in it. But the first 3 books are Scarecrow, the Tin
Uh-huh.
Woodman, and the Cowardly
Uh-huh.
Lion.
I love it.
And they're all different criminals. Although I don't think I can call the first one murder mystery because I don't think anyone's actually gonna get murdered in that one
No,
with how I'm
it's
doing it.
crime fiction,
Exactly. And
of
there will be
which murder
murder.
mystery is a subgenre. Yeah, no. Oh, that's great. I like it.
You got really
This
excited when I admitted that there was going to be murder.
well, I mean, murder mysteries are fun. Crime fiction is fun, but twisting anything into something else is so entertaining.
Oh, it really is. I love fairy tale retelling so
Right?
much.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Have you ever read Dorothy Must Die?
I haven't.
It's another good one. It's a interesting Wizard of Oz twist. It's typically found in YA fantasy
Uh-huh.
adventure.
Uh-huh.
You can tell I work in a bookstore by how I tell people where to find things. But it was like was staring at that one for months before I finally bought it and I read it and I was like, "Oh boy, I like this."
Okay. So Dorothy Must Die. I like that.
Dorothy is basically turned into an evil, power hungry dictator and she's terrifying.
I could totally see that.
Like, she
Yeah.
is absolutely terrifying. She
Yeah.
forces
Ooh.
one of her mates to kill a mouse with her bare hands and then walk around with the mouse's corpse in her pocket for like days.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Not even the worst thing she does.
No, but wow. Gee, Dorothy, like take a chill pill.
Yeah, you know someone's just like, I'm just gonna go to town with the story.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I read webcomic called Namesake, which sort of is a retelling of the original Frank L. Baum Wizard of Oz sort of type thing. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's like I feel like most people don't realize there's like 14 books in that series.
I know. I haven't read all of them. And I keep thinking, "Oh yes, I should." And then I look at the number of books and I say, "Well, I mean, my TBR list is already really long."
It's one of those eventually, maybe, probably, probably not things.
Oh, I'm sure I will because, as per usual, there's a book series that I want to write that involves a person accidentally getting pulled into the world of fiction, and so he has to deal with
Oh,
things like the Mad Hatter and the Wizard of Oz and all of the original, like, fiction pieces and figure out what went wrong.
oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah, that one's gonna be fun. Although I feel like I almost wanna make it into a screenplay because it could be a really fantastic television series.
Oh, yeah. I mean, heck, find someone who's good at animation. You could do it animated. You can get away with a little bit more with that one.
Oh, I could. Yeah. Huh.
Unfortunately, I don't currently have any animated. Well, I kind of do. On this Discord, I have a storyboard artist for The Walking Dead on here.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, that was a fun conversation.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Was also kind of a, "Oh my god, he said yes."
One of those interviews. Yeah, I've had a couple of those where I'm like, "Oh, you're actually someone that people know, and you're doing things that are, like, super fantastic, and I'm just a little tiny fish."
But hey, we're both doing cool stuff. It may not be as big, but those big people started out tiny like us.
Exactly. And considering how many ideas I have swimming around my head, I really need to do something about it, so I'm gonna.
You're just swimming. Mine are running around, either running around screaming or pouting in the corner.
Oh yeah, I have those days too. Today is a swimming day, but some days it's the screaming and torture chamber and why won't my brain shut up?
I also have a couple that are currently sitting in the corner glowering at me.
Oh, those are the dangerous ones.
Yeah.
Ah, the perils of being a creative type. So many ideas, so little time.
Yeah, and you start talking about your ideas, and everyone just looks at you like, "What is wrong with you?"
Mhm. I have a lot of those conversations.
It's like, "I promise this is normal. I'm fine. Don't worry about it."
Mhm, mhm, and then I go talk with other writer people, and they're like, "Yes, this is the same thing, and I get it." And it's like, I am normal-ish.
Yeah, it's all subjective, isn't it? All
Mhm.
right, so we've got a little over an hour. Do you have any like advice or like something you wish someone told you starting out for other writers or creative people out there who are listening?
As far as writing goes, if you're trying to do a self-publishing thing, write as many books as you can because Turns out that the more books you have, the more ideas you have, the better you get, the more people want to read your stuff, and the better marketing becomes.
Yeah, I definitely gonna have to keep that one in mind as I'm staring at my long list of characters that are glaring at me.
Yeah, no, it turns out it's actually a lot easier to market yourself if you have a wider range of work simply because you are able to reach more people. Also, the
Yeah?
characters in your head do stop staring at you if you write them down.
Yeah, but a lot of them, I start to write it down, they just stop talking to me, and I'm like, what do you want from me?"
Ah, well, I mean, that's a whole different problem, which involves much tea and some serious, like, meditative thought.
I definitely wanna, like, chat writing with you more later, like, for sure.
Okay,
Just because I
I'm
miss
around.
talking writing with people.
Yeah, writing is pretty much all I'm doing at the moment. Writing and reading and looking at words and looking at other people's words and looking at my own words. And then somewhere in there, I come up for air and say, hey, I should make some cookies.
That sounds like you're living the dream.
Yes, I'm just not making a whole lot of money right now. But I have saved up enough funds to last a couple more years before, if this writing thing isn't working out, I have to find a second job.
Well, fingers crossed. Would you like to take a moment to do some shameless self promo?
Shameless self promo. Sure. Well, you can find me on all of the usual internet social places, I guess. I'm on Amazon because I have books. That's a thing. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I shall give you all of the links. So if you need them, I don't know where you'll put them, but you can have them. Yeah. So I'm EG, writer, linguist, wanderer, writer of stories, causer of trouble. That sort of a thing.
Who I want to be when I grow up.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I've been causing trouble since I was very, very small.
I mean, same.
It's a calling, you know?
Exactly. It's not our fault we were made with hyperactive imagination that will not sit down.
Mhm, mhm. The world just has to learn to live with us.
Exactly. And one of these days it will learn to appreciate us and start giving us lots of money.
That would be nice. I could live with that, yeah. Hmm.
Ah, it'll be so great when we get there. All right,
Yeah, let me know
Esme.
when you figure that out.
I will. I've got some people working on it. An Incomplete Guide to World Domination is directed and produced by Brianna Toiber as part of Pseudonym Social, a creative podcast network. Music is by Patrick Chester of Chester Studios. You can find more of his work at chesterstudios.net. If you would like to help support our show, you can find us at patreon.com/pseudonymsocial. You can also leave a review on iTunes to make our show easier to find for those who need it. For more information on the other shows produced by Pseudonym Social, please check out our website at pseudonymsocial.wordpress.com.